It's the realist.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your guy Realistic, and we're back with another tutorial. This one is about sends and returns and using them when it comes to time-based effects rather than an insert for your time-based effects, and the benefits of using time-based effects as a send and return rather than an insert. Now, unfortunately, this is another throwback from the vault because right now I've been on tour and I've been going back and forth between Atlanta and other states, but I'm getting settled in and now I can start getting back into new content. But as a little small disclaimer, don't make fun of me too much, but this was during COVID. So because we weren't going anywhere, I was trying to grow out a beard because I never did before and we just weren't going anywhere. So I thought this was the perfect opportunity to try it. Turns out I cannot grow a beard. I was looking a lot like Abraham Lincoln in the video. So do not judge me too much, and hopefully that doesn't distract from the information because I do think the information is still useful. Also, if you do find it useful, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button because it does help the channel grow. So hopefully you get a lot out of this, and let's dive into this content. So what I'm going to be explaining today is why you should be using send and returns. And to get more into the detail, what are we going to use sends and returns for? Well, we're going to use those for things like reverb, delays, and parallel processing. Those are the things that you're going to want to use it for. But I'm going to show you why you want to use your reverbs and delays and stuff like that as a send and return rather as a direct insert on your channel. So I'm using Pro Tools right now. This is going to work in any DAW, so don't worry about that. And let's dive in. I'm going to give you a quick little short answer of how all this stuff works, and then afterwards I'll go into more detail in case you want to stick around for that. So I got this loop right here from Oracle and I's new loop pack called Love Sick. So I figured this would be a perfect one to just pull up real quick because it had some vocal samples here. And so let's kind of show you what this sounds like. Okay, so when we hear that vocal sample right there, we might actually want some reverb in this, right? Because it could kind of give it a little bit more space and stuff like that. Well, we want to put the reverb as a send rather than directly on here, and there's a few reasons why we might want to do that. And one big reason is it's going to save on CPU, because think about when you use a reverb, there's a lot of times that you might apply that same reverb on different parts. If you got a chorus vocal, a verse vocal, you got some background vocals, you got some instruments that you might use it on, you might have 2 or 3 reverbs that you're using in your mix, right? But you know, you don't want to have those 2 to 3 reverbs on like a bunch of different tracks. You just want to have those 2 to 3 reverbs available like we have right here on this channel. And then that way what I can do is I can send this reverb right here to several different channels, and then I might have a second case of reverb. I might have a background vocal reverb or a snare one. Well, then same thing, I can apply that on different instruments rather than just caking on a bunch of reverbs on a bunch of different channels. It's gonna really eat up processing. And if you know a little bit about processing and plugins, you'll know that reverbs are one of the things that take up the most processing and the most CPU. They're very CPU hungry. So that's a big reason to do that right there. Another reason why you want to do that is because when we put the reverb directly on the channel, now we're losing the dry signal as we increase the wet dry knob. Whereas when we do this as a send, it allows us to maintain the original dry signal while blending it in. Let me show you what I'm talking about. All right, so let's go ahead and throw this reverb on here. And you know that we got this wet dry knob. And when we have our reverb on our send here, we always want to have the reverb or delay at 100%. But when you put it on as an insert, you can't have it as 100%. Otherwise, it's going to sound really washy. Right? And then 2, we got the pre-delay, so now the whole thing is being delayed. Now let's blend it in though, and you'll still see that as we blend this in, we lose the dry signal. So the problem that we have right now is the vocals starting to thin out, and we're starting to lose the integrity of how the original vocal sounded like, because as we're increasing this, we're losing the dry signal and increasing the wet signal. Now, let me show you if we do this as a send instead, we'll be able to maintain the original dry signal while blending in the reverb. And then let's go back and show you how it sounds like in here. So you kind of got to hear the difference right there between the insert and doing it as a send and return. A lot better sounding, and it kind of gives you a little bit more control. There might be a couple cases where you do throw it on as an insert. Maybe you do it for creative effects, or maybe you do it because you want something to be kind of washy. But that's more of the exception, not so much the rule. As with anything that we do with mixing and mastering, there's always some exception somewhere along the way. But how I'm showing you right now, this is the standard, and this is usually the direction that you would go, and it would make a lot more sense to usually go this direction. All right, now let me talk about the last reason of why you would want to be able to put this on a send and return, and it goes back to not affecting the dry signal. But even cooler here is, you see, this is my reverb chain, and you see I got a lot of action going on right now. Well, I couldn't really do this if I wanted to have it on the directly on the insert, because all of this stuff is just allowing me to affect the reverb. So what I got here is I got a filter, but I wouldn't want to filter my vocal out like this, but I want to filter the reverb out like this. I want to get rid of some of these lows and some of these highs. I got a pretty aggressive de-esser just to kind of push things down a little bit with when the syllabants gets a little crazy on the reverb, I can push it down. And then I might want to add a little bit of distortion right here. As you can see, I have just a little bit here, and this isn't something that maybe I could do on the vocal if I just wanted to distort the reverb. If I had the reverb as an insert, I would also have to distort the vocal. Nothing wrong with the distorting the vocal, but maybe I just want to distort the reverb. Another thing too is I just want to compress the reverb, and I have the ability to just compress the reverb if I have it on this channel. And then I might want to just filter everything out in the back end again because of all the other extra stuff that I added. So it allows me to do that to really make a more unique, cool reverb. So yeah, that's everything that goes into why you would want to use send and return. So hopefully that information helped you out.
So much for taking the time to watch this tutorial. If you found it useful, be sure to like and subscribe, because it does help the channel grow. When you like a video, it tells YouTube that you liked it, and maybe other people will like it as well. And also be sure to check out my online mixing and mastering courses, the art of beat mixing, the art of vocal mixing, and the art of mastering, all available now. And if this video was helpful and you're looking for other videos, you can watch a video here, here, and here. All right, until next time, y'all.